tell him about the time we faced two.
All right. Well, as I remember.
At Avenger headquarters.
Because united, the Avengers are strong.
Welcome to the Marvel Evolution Show with myself, Andy Stead.
And I'm Jarian Gibson.
And I'm Alex Stroud.
Excellent. It's good to be back. It seems like it's been a while. I mean, I know we had last week, but it was a little bit. We had some technical issues, and I had a busy weekend, and Jarian was travelling, and it was all sorts of all over the place last week. So it's good to be back. The three of us. We hopefully are going to get an uninterrupted episode. How are you, Alex? All right?
I'm doing good. Just been hanging out inside because it's been raining here most of the day. But, you know, other than that, pretty good.
Good man. Jarian, how are you?
Doing all right. Just got back from the pool with the kiddos, and, you know, we're in full summer swing, so
Nice.
Doing all right.
And as Alex pointed out when we came on before we went live, you've shaved the beard.
Yeah, I got my summertime haircut, you know. The kids were like, don't cut the hair. And then my son's like, you know what? Let's do the beard. I'm like, okay. And then my daughter, when she saw me, she was giving this look like, who are you? You know, because I've had the beard like that all through COVID in the past 2 years. So, yeah, just kind of trimmed it down a little bit, and they'll probably grow back. You know, who knows what we'll do.
You're looking trim, Jarian. Looking trim.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just kind of... I don't know, mine's going a bit grey, so every now and again I sort of cut it a little bit. Yeah, I know.
I got plenty of grey.
My hair's going a bit grey as well, but you can't see it because it's light, so it's not too much of a problem. Anyway, yeah, we've all been good. And hi, Jamie. How you doing, mate? Jamie's watching. Anybody else, when you log on, you know the drill. Drop us a little comment, say hello. Give us your ideas on what we're going to talk about. We're going to get stuck into some news. We've got quite a lot of news, a couple of really interesting bits, a couple of smaller pieces. We're going to go through those. Hey, Ruben, how you doing? Morning.
I figured that was Ruben. When he said morning, I figured that was Ruben.
So we've got, some bigger pieces, some smaller pieces of news. And then we're going to chat about that Miss Marvel first episode, which has, I think, caught a lot of us off guard. But we'll talk about that as we go along. Hi, Lisa. How you doing? And I would imagine that Xander's there as well. So hello to you, mate. Over to you, Jarian.
So I guess we're going to come in guns blazing with the big news of the week. Thunderbolts. So Marvel's Thunderbolts movie is a go, as the studio has tapped Jake Schreier to direct. I hope I'm hitting the last name properly. The film is technically still in development, so no talent have closed deals yet, but Marvel sees this as their version of the Suicide Squad. And some characters you can probably expect on the team include Yelena, Taskmaster, U.S. Agent, Zemo, among others like Ghost as well. I've seen out there throwing around. It is eyeing a 2023 production. Bucky Barnes, Sebastian Stan has also been mentioned. And so is the Abomination as well.
Okay. Well, before we get started talking about it, everybody listening, who you reckon? Come on, give us your Thunderbolts lineups while we're talking.
Real quick, too, I have to mention, Variety has also reported on potential cast lists, speculating that Jeremy Renner's Clinton Barton and Valentina Allegra De Fontaine, the Contessa, Val, played by Julia Dreyfus, will be there as well.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of the Thunderbolts. I've really enjoyed reading a little bit about those. I've got to say, I'm a little bit worried about it if it is, because they are the Suicide Squad, aren't they? They are kind of that same thing, and I don't know, will they be able to do something different?
I'm a big fan of John Walker, so I'm excited about this and him coming back, seeing him in this show. But I'm like, man, I really hope they don't kill him off, you know what I'm saying? And that's kind of like the other side of this coin with any of these characters is I feel like this is almost kind of, if they are like the Suicide Squad in essence, it's almost like a death wish for some of them,
Yeah, definitely. Some of them have got to die.
Yeah.
And there's got to be some real stakes to it. But yeah, I don't know. I know. I actually quite enjoyed the latest Suicide Squad. I thought it was I enjoyed the first one, actually, if I'm honest.
Mm-hmm.
And I like the idea of it. I really do. But I just don't know whether, I don't know, a Marvel too late to that party. Can they do it? I don't know.
it could be too late, and I'm not sure if the cast they have can pull it off. And this is why I keep hoping that we get a proper Tony Masters, because you're going to need someone with that persona, that personality.
Mhm.
And we got some that was Zemo doing the dancing, in the Zemo cut from Falcon and Winter Soldier. So
Mhm.
Zemo can probably be part of it, but you're going to need a big personality on that team if you want to even come close to the Suicide Squad. Just
Yeah.
look at even Deadpool right here in the comments I see.
Mhm.
Ryan Reynolds, being part of it with Deadpool. Give us a proper Tony Masters persona. I don't see that Antonia can pull that off. Just what we've seen in Black Widow, and I feel that Black Widow closed her story out being part of the protocol and so forth.
Mhm.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, Joran. I don't know whether I love all those characters, and as you, Alex, I like John Walker as well. I think he's great. But yeah, have they got that charismatic leader, male or female?
I feel like that's probably where you lean on more of like Zemo and probably John Walker as kind of like the two leaders of the team, because Zemo's got that really charismatic thing going on where John Walker's kind of like that leader, kind of ex-military type, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So maybe in that way you can kind of combine those two together, and then they also just work together in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, so they have history there, so they can kind of use that as their kind of jumping off point for that.
Yep. Very true. I'd like to see him try. I mean, I don't know what it is, but I'd like to see Marvel Studios try something different with this kind of idea of villains being, or close to villains. They're not true villains, are they? They're not as
like anti-heroes, kind of.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, but I'd like to see him maybe try something new, so that it does distinguish itself from a Suicide Squad. I don't know what that is, but then I'm not a creative film writer. So
I think what the thing with the Suicide Squad is they've all got basically bombs implanted in them, and I don't think that they'll probably go that route entirely here. I mean, I think characters like John Walker, will just be like, hey, you've been basically like forced into doing this because of your actions from the past, is kind of will be probably more like his game, I'm thinking.
So here's RMC says U.S. Agent, Abomination, Zemo for sure, maybe Elena. Not sold on Bucky yet. He's transitioning hopefully into the White Wolf, so it doesn't make sense. Now, I will share something that I've seen Charles Murphy of Murphy's Multiverse post in an article, is that we could potentially see Val trying to recruit someone in Wakanda Forever potentially. He said he mentioned in an article. So, and I want to reiterate, trying to. So if Wakanda Forever, they could be trying to do Bucky then, and Bucky refuses in a post-credit scene, possibly, is my guess. Maybe someone like M'Baku. I don't know. But then another comment here from the group says Zemo has enough charisma, and Walker, I agree, that could be a great back and forth. But I still feel they need a wild card though. And that's where a Deadpool, Ryan Reynolds Deadpool, or a proper Tony Masters Taskmaster would be that wild card.
And just going on your Tony Masters suggestion there, Joran, and we've said it before, haven't we? And what we said is, and I know you posted it on the group, your theory on the group the other day, and we spoke about this around the Black Widow time, that the idea could be that Tony Masters actually developed the Taskmaster protocol, because that's what Dreykov says, isn't it? It's deploy or begin.
Dreykov said it. The Widow said it.
Yeah, yep. So it's the Taskmaster protocol is a thing, and yes, Antonia was this person within it, but could that have been, as you said in your post, which I think was a really good idea, Dreykov and Tony Masters actually developed this protocol however many years ago? That could be a bit of backstory to it. So it's a good idea. I like that. And
working with Val behind the scenes, we know with Masters in the comics, he's taken a version, I think it was the Nazi version of the super soldier serum. And so that affects Agent as well. So that's why that could be a theory if they want to go that route. So Marvel, if you're listening, I got a pretty good way you could work him in. RMC goes, love that idea.
So Val will be in Secret Invasion, right?
Surely.
Surely.
Okay, so what if this is all, like, what if she's really a Skrull and she sends the Thunderbolts on these missions only for them to find out they've been working for a Skrull?
Ooh,
Yeah.
that would be a good way. That would be a nice twist.
And that will just like rip somebody like John Walker into pieces because he'll be
Yes.
like, I've literally just been other people's weapons this entire time.
Yeah,
And-
and that kind of distinguishes it then from Suicide Squad, doesn't it? In a way.
Yeah. Yeah, and you've got somebody like Zemo that'll really just stick right in his, right in him, and he'll be like, "Oh, I've got to get some revenge for this. I am nobody's tool," like.
Yeah, I like that.
From the group here, questionable things most Avengers won't do will surely be their thing. So the whole, Cap's like his rules type of thing. We don't trade lives. We don't, they won't be going by Cap's rules anymore. It sounds like it'll be like the complete opposite. They will trade lives. They'll probably stab each other in the back. They'll probably even kill, unnecessarily.
Yeah, it almost kind of sounds like they'll be probably like arguing over like killing people too. Like somebody will probably kill one person and be like, "Well, you shouldn't have killed that one." Well, I killed this guy over here, like.
But doesn't that happen in the books, in the comics? They employ Bullseye, and Bullseye's just complete. Like psycho, isn't he? Yeah, he just kills everybody, and even the people on the Thunderbolts are like, "Hold on a minute, calm down, stop killing people," and he just kills everybody. So, I mean, there could be, that approach as well.
Mm-hmm. Also, kind of a wild card there too.
Yeah,
Bullseye.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So, next piece of news here: Marvel Studios will be skipping San Diego Comic-Con. They're only going to be focusing on D23. Which starts September 9th, but the announcements from Marvel and Star Wars will be on Saturday, September 10th, with some surprise guests, and this is where they're making all their announcements.
Big day.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Big day. We'll have a busy show the day after that on Sunday the 11th. I mean, they've kind of just gone, well, we're big enough now to do our own thing. We don't need to be at San Diego Comic-Con. We can just do our own expo, and that'll be it. There's enough news and enough reveals for us to fill a whole 2 days worth of stuff. So
I was actually kind of worried about how this might negatively affect Comic-Con, but then I started thinking about it, and I was like, no, I mean, I think this kind of makes sense, because this is like Disney's way of being like, hey, these are our shows, our content, whatever, da-da-da. And then on the other side of that coin, you can go to Comic-Con, you can get merch, you can get all kinds of stuff that you want. I mean, you can still get that stuff from Disney, but you can also go there and you can get like comics, you can get old figures and stuff like that. So it's kind of like walking in both worlds is kind of like what that's kind of becoming, I guess.
I think it will help. I think it may help the Comic-Con as well, just purely for the fact that if you take out a large chunk of Marvel, hopefully some other more obscure projects might be able to have a little bit more spotlight.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. And I feel like, I think you're right. I think that Comic-Con will start to have its convention be more of an independent-based publisher company, probably community, more than like a Marvel and DC flooded,
Yeah,
community.
that's it. Yeah, they're big enough to take their thing on their own,
Mm-hmm.
Comic-Con's done its job of breeding this monster, and they've kind of let it go off on its own.
And I mean, DC's doing the same thing with DC Fandom too. So like, it's kind of happening with everybody, it seems like. So
Yeah, no, excellent.
Okay, I mentioned Captain America earlier, so let's talk about Captain America. So Chris Evans, on returning to play Captain America, and this is when he's doing the press tour for Lightyear. I don't want to disappoint anybody, but I just don't know. It's tough. It was such a good run, and I'm so happy with it. And it's so precious to me. It would have to be perfect. It would just be scary to rattle something this so dear to me, and that role means so much to me. So to revisit that would be a tall order. So unless he's playing coy and in misdirection, I don't think we're going to see him back in any kind of Captain America role. I know there's been some speculation about possibly him showing up as like a Hydra type Captain America role, but I don't see him. I think he's done.
Yeah, I still stand by the fact that I don't think we should. If we do see him, it certainly shouldn't be for at least another 5 or 6 years. It's too soon. We don't need to see him now. Look at all this new talent that we've got coming through, and all these new ideas and these new characters. We don't need to have Chris Evans or Captain America or Steve Rogers, should I say, at the moment. But I cannot help but feel that it would be a massive missed opportunity to not bring him back in, say, 7 years' time.
Yep.
So, 10 years after we've last seen him on screen, he comes back. I don't know in what situation this will be 10 years down the line. It could be, wherever, we don't know where we're going to be. But a situation where the Marvel Universe needs Steve Rogers and somehow they find a way to bring him back. Not necessarily bring him back on a permanent basis, but bring him back to help in this battle or in this scenario. I don't know, but I think it would be a massive missed opportunity. Imagine kids now. So there's kids now. So let's take Xander, Lisa Xander. He's 13, 14 years old. He's grown up with Captain America as a Marvel fan, and then in 10 years' time, he's 24. Steve Rogers hits the screen again, he would just lose his mind. Just absolutely lose his mind, So I think that makes a lot of sense. I don't know what you guys think.
Yeah, there's a lot of comments here that I'm just going through on screen from real quick. And Roxy's not too happy. Not to hear him coming back anytime soon. I think at the earliest, if we see him again, Secret Wars, I could potentially see possibly like some kind of blip of him, maybe in Secret Invasion as like a small cameo, maybe. But yeah, I think Secret Wars would be the good time to bring him back at the soonest, but probably I would push out to later.
Yeah, I would as well.
I wouldn't bring him back like in a rush to cheapen, I guess, like what happened to him in that whole story. And I know Chris Evans really had a hard time of like whether or not he would or would not play this character in the beginning too. So I can see where his like animosity towards bringing it back too early or even at all could be an issue there.
I think a lot of actors probably go through that same feelings about bringing back characters. I should imagine that
RDJ.
Mark, RDJ, but I should imagine Mark Hamill and Harrison Ford and Carrie Fisher all had the same feelings about coming back as the Star Wars characters that they played. But I think if the story's right and the time is right and the moment is right as well, like you said, exactly like you said, Alex, it shouldn't be cheapened. And there's no way that they should just bring it back just because we can now, we will. It's like, no, it needs to be the right time.
Like, I'm really hoping what they don't do with Tony is like they get to some point where they're in some like war with Kang and they're like, oh my god, we need like the smartest person ever again. And then they're like, let's go get Tony Stark and pull him back from, what I'm saying? And pull him back and be like, hey, we need you to help combat Kang. Like, I'm really hoping they don't do that because as much as I would love to see it, like, I feel like we've got all these great new heroes.
They'll have
like,
Reed.
Yeah, you'll have Reed. You'll have, like, you don't need to go back and be like, hey, Tony Stark, you figured out how to, travel, like, through time. Like, we don't need that again. We don't need to touch on that. Let Reed build on that if we choose to do so,
Or you have other characters who've time traveled. Miss Marvel has even time, Miss Marvel has even time traveled, so.
Yeah.
And Winchester Power. So, okay, moving on. I'll probably do some quick hits here, just due to time.
Yep.
Spider-Man No Way Home, the more stuff version, swings into movie theaters in US and Canada September 2nd. More countries to be announced. So it sounds like, it's going to be cut stuff, deleted scenes, that kind of stuff. People are complaining, why are they doing this? Well, first of all, or why are Marvel and Disney doing this? Well, first of all, it's Sony, not Marvel and Disney. And I didn't hear people doing the same complaining when Avatar did it. So, if you want to go see it, see it. If you don't move on.
It's not Morbius, so
yeah, exactly. Maybe that's why they're doing it, because of the Morbius. They need the money. Anyways, Multiverse of Madness, Superior Iron Man world with Stark drones that Mysterio used was one of the worlds Strange and Chavez fell through. Basically, it was 20 unique individual worlds over the course of 40 seconds. Is no means a feat. We want to get an early start, so we began creating previews of each world. And once the client had approved, we started gathering and creating any development we needed to construct them. This was done by working on a purely pervious environment in collaboration with the animation team to get a general feel for the shots in different worlds we could be moving through. So that's the VFX company that did all that, and it's good to see that I wasn't seeing things in that thing. And I kept saying Mysterio drones I thought I saw when they were falling through. Well, it's confirmed now, and it was in a Superior Iron Man world. So there's no Superior Iron Man, but there's hints of him now.
I just hope that Superior Iron Man was not intended to be Tom Cruise.
Yeah. I missed the comment here in the chats real quick. We got so many great new characters. I don't feel like we need to see any of the original Avengers anytime soon, which I agree with that. You know, unless it's Hawkeye or Hulk or Thor right now, I don't think we really need to see anybody else.
No.
Yeah.
We talked about I Am Groot before. It's coming out in September. But Sean Gunn via Twitter said it's not canon to the MCU. They're animated shorts, so not necessarily part of the Guardians saga. They're canon to themselves, I think. He asked if I Am Groot will tie into Guardians projects. Gunn simply replied no. And I misspoke there. August, not September. 5 episodes, which will be available. All 5 episodes will be available on August 10th release. A break from the Disney Plus weekly releases. And then some comments here. RMC about Multiverse of Madness says they did some pretty incredible work in that movie. And then for your comment about Tom Cruise, he seconds that. I think we all second that.
Yeah.
So that's I Am Groot. And then
wait, real quick, I Am Groot. It shows him as like a baby, does it not?
I believe it's going to go through stages. I thought we saw him as like the younger Groot, though. Yes.
Okay, I was worried it was going to be like an entire prequel thing. Like that's why I was asking, because we've seen him grow up a little bit now over like the last few movies. So that's why I was curious. So. Yeah.
So I'm not sure what the premise of the show will be, but it does look like he's Baby Groot in the poster. But we're going to get all the episodes at once, and it's not necessarily tied to anything. It's just a thing they're doing on the side. It sounds like.
That's interesting.
Andy.
No, I haven't got anything.
Oh, okay. The details boards. I was like,
I'm interested.
Okay. So MTV Movie Awards had their show last week. Marvel Studios got 5 awards. Tom Hiddleston, Sophia DiMartino, and Owen Wilson win for Best Team for Loki. Sophia DiMartino wins for Best Breakthrough Performance for Loki. No Way Home wins Best Movie. Scarlett Johansson wins Best Hero Award for Black Widow, and then Tom Holland wins Best Performance for Peter Parker / Spider-Man. So, some very nice hardware there.
For a moment there, I thought you said Tom Holland wins the award for being the best Peter Parker.
He could.
So I thought you said, it's a very slim amount that can be nominated for that one. Yeah, cool.
Okay, Loki, seasons 2 expected to be released in 2023. It is now officially filming. So look for that next year. What if Marvel? Wait a minute. Oh yeah, for What If news, Marvel submitted the Doctor Strange episode for Emmy consideration as the show's strongest installment. Which I think that was probably the best episode, was that Doctor Strange episode.
I agree.
That was kind of the turning point for that. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think the ones before it were good, but they were kind of like, you could probably take them or leave them, and it didn't really make much of a difference. And then I think when that episode dropped, after that, the whole show just sort of took on a different feel, didn't it?
Yep.
I had like a little bit of an issue, like I not really an issue, but I guess trouble watching What If at first, and I was having trouble getting into some of the episodes and stuff like that, and I liked them, but I think that episode really drew me back in, like it really pulled me in hard, and you know, it sets up him for the rest of the show, and then they end up making it kind of like a little anthology series, which was kind of nice. So
yeah, and I think that once again, I mean, we'll talk about this a little bit later on, but I think that once again proves how this kind of linking, you know, episode to episode, show to show, movie to movie, show to movie, whatever, but this whole universe building thing is really what the fans that are still about now really, really enjoy. They enjoy that universal feeling, even if it is multiversal as it was in What If. You know, we enjoyed those links. And that's what those last sort of, like you said, those last sort of 4 or 5 episodes did.
Yep.
Carry on.
Okay, Guardians of the Galaxy 3 news. Bulgarian actress Maria Bakalova was cast in an unknown but key role. She played Borat's daughter in the sequel. She isn't the announced actor that was teased by James Gunn some time ago. So
She
we
was
know
excellent
that.
in that Borat
Yeah.
sequel, by the way.
Yeah.
She
So
was it.
there's 2 actresses added now after the fact to Guardians of the Galaxy, and there's still an unannounced actor that was teased that we don't know about yet.
And
so.
didn't they say something about the rat catcher from
Yep,
Suicide Squad?
that was the other one. Yep,
Yeah.
that was the other one. Yeah, the rat catcher actress.
Is it just me, or are we looking at Phil Lavelle and Moondragon there?
I think it's Moondragon for.
I don't think it's Moondragon. I could see Phil Lavelle and somebody else. I don't think it's Moondragon. Maybe Lila. You know.
Right, yeah. I just think it makes sense if Drax is making his way
Exit.
out. It looks, it just seems to make sense for me that Moondragon will make her way in. And with Phil Lavelle as well, they've got a relationship together, haven't they? And I think it makes, for me, that makes sense, especially in a Guardians movie. It makes even more sense. But
yeah, at this point, it could be a post-credit scene because he's already said that Moondragon's not in the film, so this could be a post-credit scene.
Oh, he's already said that Moondragon's not.
I believe I believe he said so far when people have asked that. At least I know he confirmed that the rat catcher actress was not Moondragon, and he said before that Moondragon is not in the film in previous tweets. If I remember correctly, but that doesn't mean it doesn't cover post-credit scenes.
Post-credit scene, Drax dies. They have his funeral. Moondragon shows up. So
boom. What's that Fred said?
Here from the group, someone thinks it's Lila on this one.
Yeah, that's Jamie.
And then it looks like Fred's got a comment here. So James Gunn said he's going all out for Suicide Squad as it's his last Marvel film before he focuses on DC. Does he mean?
I think Guardians
of the Galaxy. I think he means. I'm so excited for that. That man is a comic book movie genius, which, I would love for him to stay on with Marvel and do Thunderbolts. I think he could pull off Thunderbolts too as well.
Mm-hmm.
With his style of shooting and the way he does things and how he's done Guardians and how he's done Suicide Squad, I think he could do Thunderbolts really well. But I understand that he doesn't want to work with anybody else right now, though.
Imagine Deadpool eventually in a movie with James Gunn. It would be so funny. It would be so funny.
Yeah, I'm still sticking by. I'm now thinking about it even more. I actually quite like. I know it's never going to happen. But I said it last week. I think it was last week, maybe the week before. It's never going to happen. But I quite like the idea of a Tarantino Thunderbolts movie, a little bit like Reservoir Dogs.
Oh yeah, kind of Reservoir Dogs, Kill Bill-ish, type movie.
Yeah.
I
really like that idea. Anyway,
I can see that.
Just a thought.
And Fred did confirm that he meant Guardians. So I have some Daredevil news, and this has been kind of a mixed acceptance of when this news came out. So we'll talk through this one. Marvel Studios open to a lighter, fun Daredevil. All right, and from everything that I'm researching on this one, it sounds like it's going to be a Mark Waid inspired project. The Mark Waid run. Mm-hmm. And then so I don't see why not. Mark Waid's run was pretty seminal. We've never seen that kind of story, and I love the spin on that. And it was such an unexpected take on the character. In the same way, I wouldn't be surprised if they did something like that in the MCU. Why not? We like to take risks, and this is a fun part of exploring multiple stories. So maybe, and that's what the Asana Amanat from Miss Marvel said about that news of Daredevil.
Yeah, I don't know. I think we've just got to come to accept the fact that there's a tone that Marvel is going to take while it's under Disney's umbrella, and we've just got to accept that fact. And it's not we're going to have to just look past wanting what we saw on Netflix with Wilson Fisk decapitating somebody with a car door and fight scenes where we've got people being stabbed to death and things like that. I just don't think we're not going to see that. I just think we need to just accept that. Otherwise, we're just going to keep hoping. We're going to keep going. Oh yeah, they said Moon Knight's going to be darker. Oh yeah, they said Daredevil's going to be darker. Oh yeah, we've got Thunderbolts. They'll be dark because black. Do you know what I mean? I just think maybe we just need to go. It's not going to happen. Let's just understand where we're at. Go on, Alex. I can see you like your brain going.
No, I was just sitting here thinking that scene with the cell block with Frank Castle where he kills the entire cell block of people that get released. That is probably one of the most gruesome scenes out of all those shows. And I've let other people watch that show, and they're as soon as they see that scene, they're all right, I'm done with this. I'm not really interested in this anymore. But that's a great example of I don't think it'll ever be that gruesome with Disney Plus. You know, you probably won't see like as much blood and violence as there was just in that one scene, probably in an entire show.
Mm.
And you can imply it again. You can imply it without showing it. You can do camera shots, different techniques, and so forth. I just think that we're not going to get the same tone. I guess it also depends on whose run they're going to pull from for the inspiration from it, and how they're going to do it. Because I was reading some of the stuff out there on it. It's like, you know, from Wade's run, I need to go back and read that. But just from the comments I see, it seems like it'll be fine. A couple of comments here from the group on your Terra Nintendo comment. RMC thinks it's interesting, but then Fred goes, "I love an X-Men spin-off movie with C-list mutants directed by James Gunn." And I believe this one's probably Ruben. Kenobi had a moment that was unexpected from Disney, so you never know.
What is the group of mutants that are like almost like the Morlocks? They're like the ones that hide underground. I'm trying to remember their name.
Yeah,
you know what I'm
Warlock.
talking about? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So like that would be a cool idea for James Gunn to direct a movie with something like them.
Yeah.
And then RMC goes, I clicked on it too fast. I feel like they've been toying with different techniques already in different shows and movies. So I think they're trying to find the right combination, which I think is a great observation, RMC.
Yeah, I think you're right, actually. And I think not just different shows within the MCU, but as Ruben brought up as well, you know, there was a couple of moments in the latest episode of Kenobi that were pretty harrowing. They're obviously trying some different things.
The rumor for this project is late 2023 release, so that's probably going to start filming sometime soon. Some Blade news. There's conflicting reports of filming starting in early July or September. I've seen both, but anyways, between next month and the fall, Blade will start filming pretty much.
Cool.
So ready for Blade.
Yep, same. I'm so curious how they're going to do Blade. I think they'll do it great the way they'll do it with what I'm seeing, how they're doing shots and that kind of stuff. And I can't wait to see Mahershala Ali in that role.
Yeah.
I wonder how many more of these little moments we're going to have of him showing up and recruiting people like he did with Dane Whitman.
I was hoping to see him in Moon Knight or at least Dane and Moon Knight, one of the two, to kind of tie it together.
So do you think we'll see him before we actually see Blade then? Do you think we'll actually physically see him?
I think we might see him maybe Werewolf by Night. Maybe get a glimpse of him. I'm trying to think where else he could show up between now and then and what projects are out there. But I think what's that?
It depends when they're going to release it, I guess.
Yeah.
There's no actual release date on it, is there?
I think it's sometime next year. I think it's slated for 2023. I think it's one of those dates that were marked out there. I think it's like November or around Halloween time next year.
Oh, okay.
One date.
I didn't realize there is one date, the end of next year that they.
Oh, that was like November, wasn't it?
Yeah, they haven't actually got a date onto it yet. It's November the 3rd. Sorry, I haven't got a project on it yet. But yeah, November the 3rd, 2023. There's no project attached to that date.
That's my assumption the whole time with that slot has been that one because it's around Halloween.
It makes sense, doesn't it? So.
And I'm sure D23 will find out.
Yes.
Another comment here from, I think this is from Fred. No, someone else. With some of the recent Marvel stuff being more self-contained, Thunderbolts or something else being a tad more dark might fit their story if self-contained. That's a good observation there. On that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Couple things here so we can get Miss Marvel. Two last things, and then we'll start getting to Miss Marvel. The Boys. I know boys aren't Marvel, but the Boys did something based on a Marvel meme. So head writer Eric Kripke confirms, and if you haven't seen The Boys, this is from the first episode, so we're on the fourth one now. So it's been out 2 weeks, so spoiler alert if you haven't seen it, earmuffs. But head writer Eric Kripke confirms termite scene was inspired by the fans' Thanos rumors about Ant-Man and Thanos. Craig Rosenberg wrote the script and deserved most of the blame for it, the writer said in a recent interview with Variety. These evolve in a writer's room, and the evolution of that sequence started with, we need the boys to fight a superhero. So when we ask, what big superhero haven't we done yet? Someone says we haven't done Ant-Man. And then someone says, there's that meme of Ant-Man climbing up Thanos' butt and blowing him up. Sorry, Xander, if you're listening. So we would do that. We should give that audience the thing Marvel can't give them.
Yeah. Yeah. So
That was all inspired.
funny you said that actually, because Lisa said I've still not seen The Boys yet.
Oh, you got to watch it.
Yeah,
this
you got to
season.
watch it. You got to watch it, but you watch it first and then decide if it's appropriate.
Yeah, my son hasn't. My son's seen parts of it. He's 8. But I turn things off or I have him leave the room. If there's that kind of thing. But yeah, season 3's out. The first week was 3 episodes. Episode 4 came out this Friday, and it is not disappointing. This season has hit the ground running.
Episode 4 was fantastic too, by the way. So
yes, I keep saying that if you've seen American Psycho, and if Patrick Bateman was a Supes, he would be Homelander, hands down, because Homelander is a psychotic serial killer.
I love the way that they've turned it around. Not turned it around, but they've turned him into this like. He's now starting to become a villain, even while still being a hero.
Yep.
It's really strange. Like, he's not even an anti-hero. I don't know what he is. It's just a new iteration of a hero.
Well, it's so funny, too, because he's been so self-absorbed this entire show that, like, suddenly now he's, like, thinking about the future and he's, like, planning forward and stuff, and that has not been what he's done this entire time. He just lives in the moment. So it's like now he's got all these plans he's trying to manipulate, It's funny
he's
how
playing
that...
chess.
Yeah,
Chess now.
It's very unlike him, you know? Like,
I think he's kind of grown up, hasn't he? He's old. He's wiser now than what he was when we first saw him in the first season. He was very sort of, naive to everything and kind of done whatever Elizabeth Shue's character wanted him to do. I can't remember what her name was. But yeah, he basically done whatever she wanted him to do, and he's kind of wised up a little bit now and gone, hold on, I'm the most powerful person in the world. I can do whatever I want. But yeah, anyway, let's carry on.
Quick comment here. This I think is Ruben too. The Boys comic written by Garth Ennis, same guy who wrote Preacher, which I need to watch Preacher. I have not.
Oh, fantastic! It is such a good show. A little weird though towards the later seasons. It gets really strange, but
isn't it the same guy who played Tony Stark's dad in the MCU?
Yeah. So it's what is his name? Cooper. I think it might something.
Yeah. Dominic Cooper.
Dominic Cooper. Yeah.
I'll check it out. Last thing in news before I get to Miss Marvel Pacific stuff. Adrian Palacki, who played Mockingbird in S.H.I.E.L.D., Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., she wants to play Rogue in the MCU. She's come out and said.
I quite liked her in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., if I'm honest. I wouldn't mind seeing. I don't particularly want to see her as Rogue, but I wouldn't mind seeing her in the MCU because I thought she was quite cool.
Yeah, and she was pretty good as Lady J, and G.I. Joe Retaliation as well. So
yes. Yeah,
I liked her in Friday Night Lights also, the TV show. So
right, cool. Yeah.
So Miss Marvel news. So this has been a topic of controversy is her power set. So Sana Amanat on Mr. Fantastic appearance and mom in upcoming F4 film contributing to Miss Marvel's powers. This has been a topic of conversation in the group too, I think yesterday or today. So I want to address this. She said, I don't think so. Honestly, I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, from my understanding, it was kind of linked to the type of story we wanted to tell with Kamala, and not only linkage to other MCU events, but also the sense of history that she has in relationship to her family, linking the powers to her family's past. I think that was really the bigger idea. On her power set change, she said, I talked to them a little bit and gave them feedback, and I don't know from my understanding that it was something that was important to connecting powers to other MCU stories in the next phase. At the same time, it was connecting it to her lineage and identity. My favorite part of how they evolved her powers was the idea that it was connected to her own life and family's experience. So, again, this was not because of Mr. Fantastic or anything else. It was to tie her to the cosmic side, her family history, her identity, and for her to fit in with the Marvels. So we're all good now?
Yeah, we're all good. And the topic, we spoke about it on the group yesterday, I think it was, and Mike not came up with it, but pointed it out. The fact that the original Captain Marvel, he had the
Negabands,
didn't he? And when he clashed them together, that's when he changed between him and Rick Jones, and then he gave those Negabands or they were given to Quasar later on in the story. So it isn't, and I'll talk about this a little bit more in a little while, but it's again, it's Marvel Studios taking from different influences.
Mm-hmm.
So
and also trying to cohesive storyline as well.
Yeah.
exactly.
And make something different that's not the same as the comic, you know?
Yep. Well, even the comic creators of Miss Marvel have signed off and are glad they changed her powers because they want that evolvement of her. They've been involved in this.
I mean, I have got one sort of qualm about it though, about the change of powers. And it's not that I like the powers and I like the idea of the bands. I haven't got a problem with that. However, I do think that there was an element in the books where she was conscious. She was very self-conscious of her image. You know, she was, and I quote I think she says the ugly brown girl from New Jersey or something like that, and she didn't like the skin she was in. To the point where when she first transformed, her very first transformation, she actually turned into Carol Danvers, as her original person. So she was very uncomfortable being herself, and that her powers were kind of tied to that. You know, the fact that she could change her body at will, and she did at first, and then she realized that she didn't have to. Like she changed her looks, like she used it, she abused her power, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
To get what she wanted, to not look like herself, and then she didn't. She learned, you know, and grew wiser. But I miss. But I mean, maybe they'll address that in a different way. I don't know.
I think we're getting that. So there's a comment here from the group. Yeah, the body image thing is a missed opportunity, but I think they've changed that because there are some parallels going on here. This has changed from body image just from seeing the first episode. It looks like it's changed from body image to identity and family image because you can tell they hit a lot on the family dynamic and about how she's supposed to act. Little brown girls. There's been some comments made where it's not just the body, it's the identity, and I think that's where the parallel is in this story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. There was for certain that kind of that whole attitude. She is just a teenager. Yes, okay, she's from very religious family and she's got responsibilities and expectations, but at the end of the day she is just a teenager from New Jersey, and who wants to act like a teenager.
Because she made that comment, she's like, little Pakistani or brown or something girls from New Jersey are not superheroes.
That's
and
it.
See, right there is the parallel that I'm talking about with her. I think they're kind of, you know, and they can still adjust the body image stuff, but I think it's more of like self-acceptance in this besides the body image stuff in the identity piece. And it was what phase 4, Alex? You said what phase 4 is about what?
Oh, identity and
there you go.
But what's funny though is you watch the show and you kind of like get this feeling that grandma's like trying to push things along, that grandma like sent this and all this stuff. I almost feel like grandma's like pushing her towards being a hero indirectly. You know what I'm saying? Like, because she even says at one point in the show, the mother does, something along the lines of like, your grandmother was wild back in the day and stuff like that. So I'm assuming that maybe she wore that band at one point and probably had some sort of ability. And that's why the mother's like, I don't want you to be like her.
Yeah, I think we're going to get some family history around that. That something happened before they came over to the States, maybe. With their family history, and you know, who knows how that'll play out. But RMC had a thing here: is her constant fantasizing an ADHD thing? It could be. I don't want to speculate on that though.
There's some really interesting parallels with Turning Red. You've seen Turning Red?
Yep.
The Disney movie. Some really interesting parallels with that. I'd like what you just said there, Alex. The grandmother, the mother, the sort of family lineage. So that's really interesting.
Yeah, and red pandas are my favorite animal, by the way. Anyways, I love watching them at the zoo. Anyways, from the group here, I suppose all teens have body image things in ways they don't. The identity thing is better to go with. And then let me see. RMC goes, been catching those clues, Alex. A lot of things raised an eyebrow for me. A couple other things too. This one's a heartbreaker for me. So I'm on Valani, who does play Miss Marvel. Lockjaw Easter egg was attempted. She tried to get Lockjaw in the show. She said, I've been trying to get a Lockjaw Easter egg and it did not happen. But season 2, if there is a season 2. A couple of comments from here. Mom wanted those bracelets in the attic right away. That's a great point, RMC. She did. She's like, I want nothing to do with these. Put them away and put them up.
Yeah, hide them.
Another comment here was, could her grandmother be clandestine or fought against him at some point? Which I'm going to guess so. That's a great point because I was going to mention that too, because clandestine appears to be the villains in this series. two more things, then we can kind of go more into full-on show talk. She also mentioned about Black Bolt and Mom, Multiverse of Madness. I have so many opinions, which I don't think we have time for. Here's my too long, didn't read. I love Sam Raimi. I don't care what anyone says. He's my guy. I think they did him dirty. I didn't appreciate that because, of course, Black Bolt's her king, right? Because she's just in the comics and a human. And Iman Vellani, I hope I'm saying her name right. She's an absolute fan girl of Marvel. That's why when she got picked for the role, like they saw her closet, they saw all their stuff. She basically is Kamala Khan in real life. How much of a fangirl she is, so she prepared for the role. On the MCU designation, she said she argues with Kevin saying it's not 616. He's like, I said it is because I said so, and she's like, no, it's 19999. He hates it, so we keep having this argument, and they don't put, and then they put 616 in the movie. I'm like, Kevin, you know it's not 616. He sends me a sad face. I was like, great. And the last thing, Brie Larson actually helped prepare her for this role. So they would Zoom, they would call each other, they would talk all about it. As much hate as Brie Larson gets, she actually helped a lot with Iman Vellani prepare for Kamala Khan, for not for only for Miss Marvel, but for the Marvels as well. So
good.
RMC, just to comment about Fantasizer, is that Mom said she comes from a long line of Fantasizers, LOL, which that could point back to her grandma with the power, with the bracelets and then the power. So who knows? But the last thing is that this show did get a perfect score, a rare perfect score on Rotten Tomatoes.
Really?
Before it got fan bombed.
Oh.
Yeah, before it got hit up by everybody who just wants to see straight white males be superheroes.
Yeah,
which is just ridiculous.
It's funny that only happens with certain projects, right?
Yeah,
That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, no, it's stupid. I mean, I think this is a nice way to go into the actual sort of premise of the program in the first place. I mean, you've only got to look at, Marvel has always tried to be representative of the times, and it's always tried to be representative of the people that are reading their stories. I mean, it was no coincidence that Black Panther came around right around the sort of, like in the comics, but right around the sort of civil rights movement. That's when he sort of joined up. And who did he join up with? He joined up with the Fantastic Four. What better?
That was his intro, wasn't it?
Yeah,
that was his intro. Yeah,
it was his intro to come in with the family. And they did it again. I think it was 2015, 14, something like that with Miss Marvel. Brought in people that were now reading these stories, and why shouldn't they? And so that fan bombing stuff, it does my head in. I've got a friend whose friend says to me that they're changing everything, like they're bringing in all these different. I mean, this person hasn't got a clue, obviously, and he's not my friend. And to be honest, he's not my friend anymore either. So because he's just like, do you know what? I don't want to listen to it. But he's they're changing everything. They're bringing this pin. This person should be this, and there's too many females, and there's too many this and too many that, and it's just, mate, you have no idea what you're talking about. No, I thought it was brilliant. I thought it's brilliant that they've got. Yep. That they're representing so many different types of people and so many different cultures, and I really, really love this show a lot more than what I thought I was going to.
Yeah, our RMC goes to those fan bombing that it's so dumb, which I agree. I completely agree.
Mm-hmm.
So looking at the show, I mean, there was a hell of a lot of parallels actually from her comic origin. There was some scary parallels, even to the words that were said by the characters, and I thought it was this is what I was going to get at when we was talking about it earlier. Perfect amalgamation of her comic origins, of the Avengers game, and some previous stories as well. Some other stories they've taken bits, like we said, the bands and things like that. It's instantly where my mind went was the Nega bands. Yep. So. This story really did feel like an amalgamation of, like I said, especially those two, the comic story and the Avengers game.
Even with some of the elements that they played with, like her being a YouTuber, like I thought that was like a nice little like add to the, mixing it with with Disney Plus. They did that. They did a few other little things, like I really thought the costume thing with her dad, where her dad's like, "You're gonna be Mini Hulk, and I'm gonna be the Big Hulk," and I'm like, man, I've totally been in that situation before. Like, I totally like related to that. So it's like, even as somebody else that's not in those shoes, I completely get where she's coming from. She has like a lot of similar things in her life that I think relates to a lot of other people, no matter your walk of life. So,
yeah.
And if you want to talk comic origins parallels, just look at what happened in the comics. She snuck out, went to a party, got caught in the Terrigen Mist.
Yep.
It came out as Miss Marvel. The Carol Danvers original version saved the girl from her high school, the popular girl.
The same
what
girl.
happens in it? Yeah, what happens in Miss Marvel? She sneaks out to go to Avengers Con, puts the bracelet on. You know, her own power shifting, not going what's gone, caused the accident, but again, saves the popular girl from school.
Yeah.
Exact same, gets caught coming home, all that kind of stuff. Exact same parallels
Yeah.
from her origin in original run. So I'm loving it so far, and Roxy goes, I'm really enjoying it. And also goes a couple things here, the bro moving van. So there were a lot of Easter eggs in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
And then someone goes, proof Thor is a gamer from RMC. And you want to talk about those Easter eggs. I mean, the bro van we saw, Stark Tower was in it in the background. So hopefully we get some kind of clue who the new owners are.
Yeah.
The Trusted Bro truck. Just look at Avengers Con, all the different Marvel heroes at Avengers Con. You made a comment in the group, and where was Avengers Con at, Alex?
Oh, Camp Lehigh.
Yeah.
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 Which it's funny. It's like they go back in time there to get Pym particles. That's where Steve was trained. That's where she first uses her powers. Like, Camp Lehigh is just, it's got a lot of stuff going on there.
It's got an absolute point.
Yeah.
We saw a Marvel Zombies graffiti in there.
Yeah.
They recognized the in-game sacrifices of Black Widow and Iron Man.
Mm-hmm.
We also got a villain hint from her comics. So the Edison Electric sign when they're on the roof with her and her friend, that's an Easter egg for the Inventor villain from her comic series. And then we got Damage Control. And the same guy from No Way Home who's in the interrogation room with Peter Parker is in the post-credit scene. And that was a different thing. This was like, I think the first time they did a post-credit scene in this early in the series in episode 1. But also too, did you notice what he said though? In that scene, he said, haven't seen powers like that before, and they're watching people. So are they building a Young Avengers team? Is that a Young Avengers tease right there?
I don't know, but his eyes look shifty when she walks out of the shot, and he, like, literally, I think, looks, like, over to the right or something. Like, he's got something that he's planning secretly, is the way that I put that.
I wonder if it's tied to clandestine, maybe?
Yeah, maybe he's their inside agent. Maybe he's looking for people with abilities for them to take or recruit or do whatever they want to do in the show.
So a couple of comments here real quick. Really liked the tie-ins in episode 1. Missed that in Moon Knight, even though I enjoyed that show. Hoping Carol Danvers cameos at some point, which there's been some rumors about that possibly she was filming there during this was being filmed. So we'll see about that. And then another one, we were really enjoying Miss Marvel. My 8-year-old Nico watched it today. It was his first introduction to Marvel. That was an animated show. So yeah, it's my daughter watched it. She watched it with me, and she liked it. She wants to ready for episode 2. So it's also a way, like Andy was saying before, it's a way to connect to a younger generation, a different type of a fan for it.
I think a lot of what Alex was saying as well, just a moment ago, the fact that yes, okay, she is from a certain culture and her background, but she's a lot of relatable problems that a lot of teenagers have gone through, especially in modern times. It's hard to relate to some of the problems that the Fantastic Four were going through back in the 60s for most of us, because most of us weren't even about back then. So it's hard, but these modern characters have got modern problems written into their origins, and we're seeing those play out on screen now. But just going on the point there that was been made about all the tie-ins, and this just proves the point that I did enjoy Moon Knight. I did enjoy it. However, I think it being such a separate thing and then barely even touching upon the fact that this is happening in this whole great universe was I think it was a mistake, and I think this proves exactly why it was a mistake, because this was brilliant to watch.
Yeah, I kind of feel like maybe they did that with Moon Knight as like their way of maybe trying to make the viewer watching it for the first time think like, is this all in his head? Is it not? If there's no connections, maybe this is all made up. Maybe, you know what I'm saying? So maybe that was their idea there. I don't know,
No,
but
good point.
yeah, but definitely like going back for a second watch, you know, obviously, you know, that's supposed to be in the same universe, you know, like,
Yeah.
so you don't see anything, but like there's like I think one or two things that you can sort of relate to the MCU in there.
Like
you know?
GRC, the GRC bus or van or something like that, and there was something, and then like the astral plane.
Yeah, so
Yeah, no, I see what you're saying, Alex. Yeah, I don't think they needed to go as full on as this. This was obviously like full on, wasn't it? I mean,
Dude,
she was
so speaking of
fangirling,
full on, 28 MCU heroes and villains mentioned in the first episode. 28.
nice, that's brilliant. And it was just, do you know what? I guarantee we was all sitting there with stupid faces like we've got now. Everybody watching as well, just sitting there with this stupid face, going, "Oh look, cool. Oh yeah, nice. You know, just this whole time you're going because, and now this brings back to my point about Steve Rogers coming back in 10 years' time. Yeah, we was listening to her. Basically, she's grown up. She's 16, so you know, she her whole life she's had Avengers in her life. Yeah. So, but we was looking back on the last 10, 12 years of our lives, watching these movies and seeing what she saw, and we was just as excited as she was. You know, can you imagine the excitement in 10 years' time if they actually did do what we said? But anyway, yeah, no, I really enjoyed it. I thought that she's great as well. How good is she?
Yes.
She's
absolute nailed this casting.
she's got like charisma, I guess is the word I'm looking for. Like she's very good at like making people like her, I think. You know, is the word I'm looking for, I guess there.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Really likable, a really, really likable character. But she was in the comics as well. You know, Miss Marvel was in the comics. She was really, really likable. I thought she reminded me a little bit of Florence Pugh. Same sort of attitude, same sort of energy for me. Just that kind of, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what
Without
it was.
the killer instinct.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
of course.
Without the
Yeah,
killer
yeah, yeah.
instinct.
Without being an assassin.
Yeah, definitely. But just that same energy. I just got that same energy from her.
Yeah. Yeah.
A couple things here real quick, so we're getting close to the end
Yeah,
here.
we're nearly done.
So someone thinks that the damage control agent's a Skrull.
That would
And
be
then from the, which I could see that possibly. And then because the powers before comment, you know, and that's what the Skrulls kind of do. So this could tie into Secret Invasion. That's a great point there. Miss Marvel probably going heavy on referencing MCU events after Moon Knight, maybe intentional.
Yeah,
so that's a good comment there. I've always thought maybe she has Kree heritage in her, possibly.
Mhm.
You know, the way the band's activated and that kind of stuff. Maybe she does have some Kree. Because Kree did experiments on Inhumans, and that's how he got on Humans, and that's how he got Inhumans was from the Kree doing the experiments.
nice.
So maybe that's the tie in there, is that maybe she has some Kree heritage. Maybe her grandmother could have been experimented on by the Kree, and whatever happens in their family, it skipped a generation, or it just got activated in her and nobody else. So
That's a
you know,
really neat tie-in, Jarian.
yeah, so that could be how she ties into it. And then timeline wise, this is after Moon Knight in the Disney Plus timeline order. So this is the farthest series out right now.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. It would be great if, well, that tie-in that you was just talking about there, Jarian, if that's true, that we could actually see a Marvel.
Yep.
Yep.
And then RMC, have a good one. Thanks for joining us today. He's out, but have a good one. We're almost done anyway, so we're wrapping it up.
Yeah, we're done.
Yeah, no apologies needed, man.
Any final thoughts, Alex?
No, I'm excited for
seconds.
I'm excited for episode 2. Really curious to see what they do with that band. I don't know if she used her powers after them being activated without the band or not in this show, but I'm interested to see if they do that or not.
Yeah, excellent.
Yep.
Any last thoughts, Jarian?
Yeah, I agree with Alex. I'm like, is it really tied to the band, or where's the band kind of the metaphor for the Terrigen?
Powers, maybe.
Yep.
Maybe
The Terrigen Mist replacement was the band. And then I'm just looking forward to see the family history here. I want to see, you know, what happened with the grandma. I love the family dynamic. My wife even said in some ways it reminds her mom of her mom in a ways. Just the way that they talk and the way they do stuff and the food thing and that kind of stuff. That's my mother-in-law. A lot like my mother-in-law. So like if you come around, she'll feed you, she'll send you home with food. That's exactly like my mother-in-law. You know, you come over and that's what she's like. So
Feeders.
Yeah.
Right, lads, we've got to go. We're done. Thank you to who we had. We've had Jamie, Lisa, Zander, Jared, RMC, Roxy. Mark was on there for a little while. Yeah, thank you for tuning in, guys. Thank you for all your input. It's been a pleasure as always. Alex, Joan, great stuff. And
Yep,
I'll
see you next week.
Next week. Take care, guys.
Why don't you tell them about the time we faced